All right, y'all, welcome back. I'm John, and today we're going to talk about cryptocurrencies and should they have a place in your investment portfolio. Now, this channel is all about saving, investing, budgeting, building for the future, building to a retirement of abundance, whether it's an early retirement or after 70. And cryptocurrencies, I'm lukewarm on, if I'm being honest. Now, we've all heard of Bitcoin, but I don't think most people really understand what it is. So today we're going to talk about Bitcoin, kind of how cryptocurrencies work, what's going on with them, the one that I'm really keeping my eyes on, and do I think they deserve a place in your investment portfolio? Now, the first thing is what is a cryptocurrency? And that's a little hard to describe. You know, if I grab my wallet and I pull out $1, everybody knows that's $1, and I can exchange that. I can hand it to somebody else for $1 worth of goods. We have to agree on the value of those goods, but if I have 5 and I walk over here to the Subway and hand them $5, they'll give me $5 in food. Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies like that, they kind of work like that, but my dollar is backed by the federal government. Now, to some of you, that's great. Full faith and credit of the federal government, the ability to tax and tariff to provide income to support the economy. But to some people, the government manipulation and inflation is a negative. For me, I kind of fall on the libertarian side of all that, so the idea of a cryptocurrency is super appealing to me. But a cryptocurrency right now is based on whatever other people happen to feel it's worth. Bitcoin has had an amazing success in terms of at least the pricing. It's unfortunately much like a bubble in the stock market, though. People who are like, well, it'll never go to 4,000, but once it goes to 4,000, like, oh, it'll never go to 10. And once it goes to 10, well, it'll never hit 40. And it hit 40. And it hit, briefly, $60,000 per Bitcoin. But there's nothing to back it up. There's no financials behind it. So it's not a currency backed by a government. And that's not always the greatest thing in the world. Most currencies are very stable. The US, Western Europe, China, India, even Mexico, a lot of these currencies are super, super stable. But bad management, bad government, you can have crazy inflation spikes and currency can become really a problem. But in most of the Western industrialized world, it's not an issue so much. Bitcoin's not that. It's not government backed. It's international. And my wife is one of those who really doesn't understand what Bitcoin is. I don't claim I do. I am not a nerd. I am a nerd. I'm not a techie, though. I couldn't do a Bitcoin if I wanted to. I couldn't go create my own cryptocurrency. But I do dabble in it just a little bit. And the general idea is that I have a Bitcoin and I want to give you a Bitcoin, and everyone else out there basically keeps the ledger. So if I transfer one from me to you, it's written down in a ledger and everybody else does the calculations. And so there's essentially no way to cheat it. But also it's disconnected from government influence, government control, government manipulation. I love this concept. But Bitcoin, for all of its success recently, has never really caught on. Yes, big companies like Tesla will be like, hey, we'll accept a Bitcoin for our car, but I can't go to the grocery store down the road or a Subway or a Wendy's and buy a hamburger, a sandwich, or my groceries with a Bitcoin yet. It's been very slow to be adopted, and part of that is because the valuation changes so dramatically. Like I said, there was a time when people didn't believe it hit 4,000, and now it's at over 40, I think the last time I checked. It hit temporarily 60,000. And that means that they're tying it back to the dollar. When they talk about how much a Bitcoin is worth and they say, oh, it's hit 60,000, that's 60,000 US dollars. So for it to have any value, they have to tie it back to the dollar. There's no inherent value there. There's no technicals like a stock to go look at. You can't go look at it and say, oh, well, here's the profit, here's the expenses. It's just worth whatever people think it happens to be worth. Also, the way it's designed is for a limited supply. There's a maximum number of Bitcoins that can be mined, and once they hit that, nobody really knows what happens. So right now, it's like a stock market bubble of people getting excited, there being more news, the value shooting up, and it bringing in more people, which shoots the value up even more. I don't think Bitcoin is probably the answer. I think there will be a cryptocurrency that is a global exchange. I just don't think Bitcoin is going to be it. For the average everyday person who's interested in Bitcoin, it starts to become a lot more confusing pretty quickly, because if you start looking at cryptocurrencies and you start looking at Bitcoin, you suddenly find out there's Ethereum and Doge and all of these other ones. What are they worth? How do you value them? It ends up being super, super confusing. Not to mention that if you do want to receive, you do have to go set up a wallet. And a lot of those wallets look like somebody in their basement set up a website. Here, please accept your X coin to your wallet. How do you know it's really secure? So it's like setting up a bank account with a bank that you've never heard of that's not backed by a government. My wife falls on that side right there. I've explained to her what Bitcoin kind of is, but there's so much uncertainty and there's so many different options, none of it makes sense. Even though Bitcoin's the big player in the market, nothing's coalesced yet. And companies like Doge, which I'm a pretty big fan of, this was a joke. People were like, hey, let's start this, and they based it off of the Litecoin blockchain. Now it's out there because it's got a cute dog on it. It makes it very approachable, but is it ever going to really catch on? I do own some Bitcoin, not much, and I have a little bit of a personal story of not really regret, but boy, I missed an opportunity. So right now I have, $800, $850 in Bitcoin. You know what? I'm going to post my account below, my Bitcoin account. If you feel that I'm totally wrong and you want to prove to me that Bitcoin is amazing, send me a tiny little bit and prove me wrong. But I have about $850 probably in Bitcoin right now, plus another account with free Bitcoin, where you can go every hour, click on a button, and they give you just a tiny, tiny little bit of Bitcoin. I have probably another $150 there, something like that. I'm a big fan of Doge, and actually I'm mining Doge right now on my computer. I don't do it very often. I have, 6,000, 10,000 Doge probably. Not a lot. I mine one or two a day. So in a month, maybe I mine 80, if that. It's no big deal. And Doge, I don't know that it's ever going to go anywhere, but hey, I've got a nice little supply. The one that really interested me is called Pi. And this was founded as a research project. And what's really cool about it is that they do it on your phone and you can, quote, mine it. So whereas mining Bitcoin, Ethereum, Doge, everything else uses processor or GPU power to do calculations for that ledger, Pi is different. They're still launching it. It's still kind of almost a research project. So every morning I pull up my phone, I open it, I click on mine, and I get a rate. I'm not actually using any processing power, so it's not really mining as much as they're rewarding me for participating in the community. But it's a super easy way to build this specific cryptocurrency. But because it's an academic exercise, and they're building up wallets, they're building up mining, they're building up everything very, very grassroots, I'm really excited about it. I think it has the potential to be really, really special. If you want to find out more, I'll provide a link below. Click on that and go find out more. But ultimately, I just don't think cryptocurrencies are there. Right now, they feel like a stock market bubble to me. That bubble might go up to 100,000. It might go up to 1 million. And there will be fortunes made, but every one of those fortunes is gambling. Every one of those people, every one of those fortunes, somebody who buys a Bitcoin and hopes that it goes up, it's a bubble. It's a Ponzi scheme. There will be fortunes lost, but but there may be fortunes gained as well. For me, I'm waiting for things to make more sense. I don't believe it should be part of, at least not a major part of your investment strategy. It should be out there. I kind of like playing with it. I hope I'm wrong. Honestly, I hope Bitcoin takes off and it becomes widespread. And my personal story on it is that I knew Bitcoin a long time ago. Multiple computers ago, I found out about Bitcoin and I discovered you could mine it. I downloaded a miner and it was something you had to edit a batch file to do. I set myself up with an account. I set myself up in a pool. I started mining and I mined a good bit. Some of that's probably lost. I think honestly some of it's lost in an account that I can't remember. But if I'd kept at it in those early years, I truly believe in my heart I would be a Bitcoin millionaire right now, because I was early in knowing about Bitcoin and starting to get my computer to mine on it. Now it's become very industrialized. People build factories, they buy a bunch of mining equipment, they really focus on it, and it's, you know, as long they're all gambling that it goes up to pay for the electricity it's costing to actually mine out a new coin. I'm not sold on it being the future. I don't know where the future is going to go. My magic 8 ball is broken. But I'm not sure Bitcoin is it. And after all this time and all this hype and all these news articles, it's still not being picked up by a majority of retailers where you would use it on a daily basis. And because it's based on whatever people think it happens to be worth, it changes all the time. Maybe my money with the US government has a 2% inflation rate, whatever it happens to be, but freaking Bitcoin can drop 5% in a day. Don't tell me it's more secure when it's that volatile. So personally, it's something I'm interested in. I play around with it a little bit. I keep an eye on it, and I keep an eye on some of the other cryptocurrencies, but it's not part of my investment strategy, and I don't funnel money into Bitcoin hoping that it's going to go up. It's pure guesswork. It's pure gambling at this point. So let me know any questions. I'd love to hear your comments below, but I appreciate you being here.